Okay, let's get started then. Hold on, I just need to get oriented for a second. So, I can't really read the time here. I assume the game just started. Oh, maybe that's the problem. Yeah, that was the problem. I don't know why it's defaulted to... Am I going to TwitchCon? I'm not sure yet. If I don't get partnered, I might not go. Also, TwitchCon's more of a social thing, and I don't really have a lot of streamer friends, so I might just like end up walking around doing nothing there, which would be kind of boring. So unless I have a really good reason to go, I'm probably not going to.
Nice pick, nice pick.
Hold on.
Oh, they're on your right side.
That Genji fed so hard.
Nice pick.
They're going left side now. Right side, left side. I don't know. Right side, left side. Reinhardt's smoking retards. They're going left side now. Alright, let's get these picks over here.
This positioning is good because your general team's positioning is god awful, but your positioning in relation to that is good, because I mean you have to be able to heal them, but it's just really weird here. It's really weird. As Moira, you kind of have to play around your team's positioning because you just can't reach heals at a certain point, and I would say you're doing a good job of that. Like, why is your Reinhardt over here? Your off tank and your main tank should stick together in most situations. I mean, that's not Moira gameplay commentary, but it's just something I'm noticing, and it's concerning. That's a good damage orb. Generally, at least in high-rated games, this is a really popular flank spot, especially if there's teams playing up here. I mean, if they're running bunker, typically high-rated teams will try and dive or something like that, but you might see a tracer or something go around behind.
Okay, I'm Waldo, what's up? Waldo, your mom here? Get these guys, get them, fuck them up.
Another good damage orb. Some people might have thrown a healing orb there, but I definitely agree with the use of damage orb here. You're going to get your ult charged faster. You don't need the extra healing from healing orb, so yeah, good decision there.
Come on, fuck them up. Yeah. Kill her hog, I'm gonna die. Oh shit, what the fuck? Get deflected.
I get the point of that damage orb there, but you definitely need to spend a little more time aiming it.
Oh shit, what the fuck? Get deflected.
I have this problem too with some damage orbs. I'm just, what the hell is going on in the kill feed? Didn't even realize that. Never mind. Yeah, with damage orbs, I have this problem too, where I'll try and rush a damage orb without really aiming it too much, and it gets next to no use from that, and just wasted a 10-second cooldown. I think most Moira mains can work on this, just taking your time with orbs, even in really intense team fights where you have to make quick decisions.
Reinhardt killed you, and then Genji deflected it, and he killed you.
Nice aim. That's good, yeah. So it's a good decision to drop down, and like after the team fight was won there, you still had some stragglers, you decided to drop down and finish off the remaining kills. That's a good decision. I haven't seen any big mistakes yet.
Dude, you got like the fucking beast healer, bro. I appreciate you.
Hey, what's what are you gonna do? I got nano for, I got nano blade, nano Sophio, I got nano for you.
Nano the fucking Moira.
Your team is so energetic.
Alright, I'm so down with that. I'm so down with that.
They're going left side, I can wall them off.
I would have thrown the healing orb a little bit earlier. I don't know why your Ana is not healing that hog on the other end here, But yeah, I don't know.
They're going left side.
Wait, did you have it on cooldown? No, you didn't have a cooldown. Hold on, scratch that. It was off cooldown, and you could not have thrown it earlier.
Get these guys. Get the support.
Holy shit.
Okay, that was good. I guess you were trying to coordinate a nano coalescence. Didn't your team have a Genji on the? Did they not have a Genji? I think your team had a Genji and you didn't nano the Genji, but that's fine. They're using nano coalescence, which is cool. I'm gonna talk about your coalescence usage then.
Get these guys. Get the support.
So I wouldn't. Here's where I think you made a mistake in targeting this Winston. You should be going after targets that are going to go down really fast, like squishy targets. I know the monkey was closest to you, but you're probably not going to land that kill because he has his escape abilities. Even though you're nanoed, it's still probably not going to do enough damage to kill that Winston. It looks like, yeah, the monkey escapes. And then you go for the squishy targets, which you should have tried to go for earlier. I also think, wait, did you get nano before you used coalescence?
Get these guys. Get the support.
Yeah, you were nanoed before you used coalescence, so that always gives you the pressure of, oh no, I have to ult now. The best decisions are not always made right after you get nanoed, I will admit. But yeah, I would go after easier targets to kill first. You'll get more kills from that.
Holy shit.
So they used a Genji blade right there. I would have switched my targets immediately to that Genji. Once you heard the blade come on. Because I didn't really know where he was there, and you could have died instantly. I think he was right on you. Yeah, the Genji's like right here.
Holy shit.
Luckily, your team used quite a bit of ults there, and I think you out-ulted them.
Huge.
This is a mess.
Fucking dash killed me.
Why are you using more ults? Okay. Your Genji went off and solo bladed something. So you guys used what, 5 ults or was it 4 ults? Whatever it was too much. I guess for there's so loud. Should I turn down the volume? Is it too much? Anyway, you can try and coordinate with your team. If you use comms consistently, just like let's not use all of our ults because they still have a minute 42 left. Yes, the enemy team did use a lot of ults, but having a better ult economy going into the next fight would probably just be better. That's really the only useful thing you can to do in comms, I would say, for what I've seen so far. Just coordinate ult economy better.
We're coming. Reinforcements are coming.
Genji, I want you to be the fucking alpha. Show that cold Genji that he's a freaking leader.
I understand the use of this damage orb, healing orb here. But you didn't really need to use it, I don't think. I generally get more use out of damage orb because you could have just walked forward here and used your biotic grasp to pretty much heal everyone up here without having to use one of your cooldowns. So if you think you might need to use a cooldown to get heals done instead of just using your regular biotic grasp, really reconsider doing that because your orbs are very useful in certain situations where that might come up directly after you use an orb here. Like maybe the Genji comes up and dives and you want to take him down faster and you don't have a damage orb to do that with. So if you don't have to use a healing orb, just don't use a healing orb is my point. I say that because I tend to use a lot of damage orbs in my gameplay. some of them don't do anything, but just the fact that I'm trying to get that aggressive playstyle present is, it often pays off, I guess.
He's already on point. Get this whore! He thought he could get away. Point, already on point, already.
That was a good damage. I mean, healing orb. I don't. Hold on. I don't think you saw that your Ana was low there, but I think if you hadn't used that healing orb, your Ana might have died. So, good job.
Sorry, no shield.
Your Hog has been out of position consistently. Not gonna lie, that's totally on him to dying there. Risky fade. You're doing it. Torb turrets on you.
Get him, Moira! Yo, get the Zen, get the Zen. Zen's in that room, Zen's in this room. He's trapped in here.
Yeah, that wasn't bad. I like the aggression there. The enemy team, even though you didn't get much value out of that ultimate, I think that it kind of told the enemy to back off, and looks like they're doing that. Unlucky.
Where'd he go? Let's go nano.
I mean, you were quite out of position there, but I wouldn't have expected that Torb to land that many shots, to be honest.
I must reflect upon
Ana.
this.
I'm dead. I got a Genji on me.
Genji off. Fuck.
Our inevitable victory.
All the healers are dead? Oh shit.
Let me talk more about that coalescence usage, actually.
Can you heal Genji on point?
Wait, where is your orb? Where's your orb? That's very important.
Can you heal Genji on
So you actually had damage orb available right there. Maybe you missed the animation cancel or something, but definitely use damage orb there to take down that Zen really quickly. That Zen definitely would have died. I don't think you did. You get the kill here? No. Also, notice this is really important too. Notice how you've positioned yourself.
No shield.
Along the Zen's path of retreat. I'll explain this.
Can you heal Genji?
So the Zen, hold on, let me get my epic pen. Here we go. So the Zen, now that you've ulted, is going to want to retreat. That arm... yeah, that's kind of weird. The Zen's going to want to go this way. But that's right where you are. It's going to make trying to track him way more difficult than it needs to be. Like, a lot more difficult, because he's going to be going pretty much right into your player model. Hold on.
Yeah, point.
I probably wouldn't have even faded there. Like, if you used your ult right here, you would have been able to chase that Zen and whoever else this is. I think that's Genji or something. You would have been able to chase them all the way back to their spawn while consistently following them, instead of having to adjust your aim. It's really difficult to track targets who are right on you, I've noticed.
Can you heal Genji on point?
Yeah, like you ended up pretty much missing all of your coalescence when the Zen was right on you, and that probably could have killed him.
Oh, he's one! Get him, Moira! Yo, get the Zen, get the Zen. Zen's in that room, Zen's in this room. He's trapped in here, he's trapped in this room.
Yeah, okay, so that fade was not good. I get that Mei is super encouraging to, like, oh, you should really go and ahead and get the low health Genji or whatever, but you should have realized that there was a lot of people still alive on their team, and I think they had 2 people coming back from spawn at that point. it would make sense that they would be in this area. Not having Fade right there is definitely what got you killed.
Yo, get the Zen, get the Zen. Zen's in that room, Zen's in this room.
So if we're gonna analyze why you died here, it's poor Fade management, and there's a game sense issue as well where you didn't take into account how many enemies were going to be in this area. So you should keep track of the fact that there's going to be a lot of people coming back from spawn because you guys won the last team fight.
Wait, where'd he go?
It was a risky play. I mean, it could have worked actually. You never know.
Let's go nano.
But it was very risky.
I'm gonna die.
I must reflect upon
Anna.
this.
I'm dead. I got a Genji on me. I'll get you off. Fuck.
Our inevitable victory.
Both our healers are dead? Oh shit.
Get into position.
Hey, give them 2 ticks.
Yeah, there's not much you can do here.
The mana plate. Come back, come back, come back, come back.
Don't do it!
Must all make sacrifices.
I played.
Okay, positioning on this point I've found is very specific, so I will try and talk about that
Is more than one
as
off?
I
More
see
than
it.
one off?
And they're using so many ults.
It does.
That turret.
Oh my god, what a mess. Okay, so nothing wrong with your positioning there. I would say when going against a Genji like this, I mean, I'm going to try and focus a lot on deaths because that's the main part where most Moiras can improve on.
Turret, y'all.
Hey, Darling Wolf. You can try and dodge a little bit better there. You were pretty much backing up in a straight line, almost. With Genjis, the main thing you want to avoid is them landing their 3 shurikens on you with their right click. And it can take you down very quickly, especially if they land headshots. I would be trying to crouch a little bit more to avoid that. Strafing also helps a lot there. Just generally more evasive movement would have definitely won you that duel.
Should have nanoed me.
I did. Oh wow. I think I died.
Touch it, I have Blizzard! Touch it, I have Blizzard!
There was a flaw in my approach.
I would have ulted before this, so the moment that you...
I have Blizzard!
There was a flaw in my approach.
Okay, the moment you peeked around that corner, you toss the damage orb and start ulting. Your ult has a very long range. It can definitely reach the point from here. And, yeah. You waited like another 2 seconds where you could have just ulted before that.
Do we need Blizzard? Yes, no?
Big dick, Rhino!
I like the focus, and so instead of healing your low health Ryan, or whoever that was, you went for getting kills. I actually really like that decision because your Ryan didn't end up dying. And I'm guessing that you probably knew that your Ryan wasn't going to die there. So I really like the decision to go after getting kills rather than healing up your slightly low health teammate. It's a good decision.
Yo, our Rhino just got big dick right there.
Yeah, you gave him some Viagra, right?
I mean, don't take it the wrong way and just like, don't heal your team, get kills, but don't heal your team, get kills. Nice fade.
Alright, whoever comes through here, I'll wall them off. Alright. Left side, Winston. Orbs on it right here.
Oh, purple.
This is really hard to know what's going on, even for me. I'm gonna be honest. I'm very confused right now. Maybe because the sound effect noises are really out there. Like I have my sound effects turned to 30%, and it sounds like this is way higher than that. But I'm quite disoriented, not gonna lie. Generally really good positioning there. You weren't too aggressive to get yourself killed. The enemy was kind of all over the place, and you used a couple healing orbs that were very effective. So yeah.
Who said me?
Your team's a little aggressive. Oh, Hog's feeding again.
Get him! Get him! Get him! Fuck him up!
Wow. Okay, never mind. You're going in.
Bro, Winston's right behind us! Winston's behind us! He's trying to capture the point!
Something on point, something on point. On point, on point. On point, get
Oh man. Close one.
Wow!
This is such a mess.
So Nano Blade.
I would have used the healing orb there. You're extremely low.
Wow!
I mean, you do have fade up, but you can die really easily here.
So
I
Nano Blade.
might have used the healing orb. Oh, nice nano.
Take your ult. Save him.
This Ana really likes you.
Nano me.
Once again, this healing orb was not really that well aimed.
Take your
Let's
ult.
look at that.
Save him. Nano me.
So you had two teammates. Wait, that's a blade, right? Never mind. You couldn't have out-healed that anyway. Never mind. So they bladed there. You weren't gonna out-heal that anyway. But generally, you want to throw your orbs more parallel so they don't bounce off the ground and go at random directions, but like parallel to the ground.
Kill something!
Darn it.
Aw, dude, this is flat out even nano you, dude. This sucks.
Oh, okay. This is actually a really good moment here. So, you have quite a bit of healing resource, and both of your tanks are tanking so much damage. You make a decision here that costs your Ryan's life. Yeah, you stopped healing to throw a healing orb. The thing that sucks about this is when you throw a healing orb, you don't maintain healing. Like there's a probably half a second break in healing where you're not providing anything to your team because you're throwing the orb. You had about a third of your resources left. I would have not thrown the healing orb. I think you could have sustained your Ryan there. Just something to keep in mind when you're healing someone who's taking a lot of damage is that if you throw a healing orb, there will be an interruption in the heals.
Got it. Damn.
Nice. Oh my god. Huge.
No eyes.
She's stupid.
So Winston almost ninja those.
I think I did. Fun.
This is the thing that really sucks about not having a defensive ultimate. Like, if you had a defensive ultimate, your team could just completely ignore the like Torbolt and Genji ult, but you have to play super safe because they're using two DPS ultimates at the same time. What kind of interruption? So I was talking about before was that if you're healing a tank or anyone taking a lot of damage and the damage threshold is pretty much met where you're healing 80 heals per second and they are taking that much damage, so if you interrupt healing for even like half a second, they're gonna die. If you think, oh, if I throw a healing orb and use my Bad Grasp, then I'll be healing for more than they're taking. You're correct in that, but if you decide to throw a healing orb, the healing will be interrupted because you don't heal while you're throwing the orb. And if they're still taking damage during that time, they will often end up dying, even though you're going to be providing way more heals for them after that initial break in healing. Yeah.
Genji, he has no healers on you. You guys can stall. I have Blizzard.
I might have died to that. Just knowing when to use Fade when you're taking a lot of damage.
You guys can stall. I have Blizzard.
Yeah, I don't know what to say here other than just if you used Fade, you would have survived. Yeah.
Y'all are completely oblivious about that.
I don't think you would have won that fight anyway because they had I think they had everyone on point there. So don't feel too bad about that one.
Goddamn turret.
That was good. That was really good.
Gonna skip. Oh, here we go. Part 2.
God damn.
Wow.
Wait, let me just look at your team comp for a second.
Oh.
Reaper, Mei, Ana, Road, Genji.
What's your
So
healing at right now?
you don't have a main tank.
God damn.
Wow.
That's often really tough on this point because of how much poke damage and spam will be fired at you. But we'll see how this works.
I wasn't DPSing too much, Anna.
It's a good Mei wall.
Truly walling off right here.
So this doesn't often apply to lower rank, but there's usually no reason not to use Fade across this small gap. Typically there's like a Widow or some sniper looking down this alleyway and they'll pick me off, but once again, this doesn't really apply to low rank. You were fine just crossing that gap there.
Whoa!
Okay, your team's already up there dying. What the hell is your Torb doing? Wait, no, who is this?
Truly walling off right here. Whoa!
Mei. No, your Mei is just completely in their faces. Feeding.
Let's go left side. If you're gonna fucking take longer.
Genji have.
Let's go left.
Your Ana had to use nade there. You weren't looking at your team for a good 4 seconds. I think you could have used the healing orb in this room. Yeah, you should have used the healing orb in this room. Just bounce it around the room because your team's kind of stuck here.
Get out of this room. Okay, let's go left.
Yeah, your Ana knows what's going on. She's like, let's get out of this room.
Just wait for my wall to come back up.
That's a good orb.
Okay, I'm ready. Guys, left, come on, left.
Okay, you got no value out of that ult. I'm gonna look back and see if there was a reason to ult there at all. So the only reason I see is because you're low on healing.
Okay, I'm ready.
Hold on.
Go left. Go left.
Just wait for my wall to come back up.
So instead of using my ult, what I probably would have done here is be a little more aggressive to get my healing resource back. Try and taxi your team with a little extra heals that you got from being more aggressive and get them where they need to go without using your ultimate here.
Okay, I'm ready.
Because there were players, there was the Genji, the Mercy, they were both right here and you could have gotten some more healing from that.
Guys, left, come on, left.
Hold on. This seems like improper fade usage. Where did you use your fade? Yeah, there's no reason to fade there. So I want to try and figure out why you decided to use fade and that at that point. So maybe you don't do it in next time. You took 2 ticks of damage from a Torb turret and you decided to fade after that. This, I think you were probably just focusing on other things in this game, but your primary focus should be on saving your cooldowns, because they are the one things that can save you from dying. You want to get there faster. I understand that kind of makes sense. Yeah, but you only went like 3 or 4 meters or whatever the in-game distance is. The reason you died next is because you used fade there. Because had you had fade right here, you could have easily like gotten out of there with fade.
Sorry. Oh. Dude, that's hurt.
Must all make sacrifices for science.
I mean, I'm being really hypercritical. I don't need to be this critical. I think it's a little bit too much to expect every single play to be perfect. So I'm just gonna call it everything I see. Don't take it the wrong way at all. And I feel like, yeah, I do understand how that would be kind of annoying to hear. I'm just a little too hypercritical. That is annoying, very annoying turret. I think you have teammates who should probably be able to deal with that.
Kill the Torb first?
Have they used any of the ult? Go left. Go left.
Nice.
Fuck!
Your team is so uncoordinated. Like, they use Genji ult, and there's really nothing you can do against that. I suppose you could have been a little closer and try and... No, you actually couldn't have gone closer because they have a Torb turret. No, that's just unlucky. Your team doesn't have anything to do with Blade.
Get out of there.
Banana blade.
I'm not going to talk about the healing orb there because it doesn't matter, really. Your team is very much disorganized. I suppose if it was better placed, you could have gotten another 10% ult charge, but I mean, with the damage orb, but it doesn't really matter too much. You're probably going to have ult anyway with the next team fight.
Just tap together, Diva. Go left.
I like this positioning, actually. What I would do with this positioning, now that you're here, I guess, is go around the backside when your team decides to push in and create some crossfire.
Why were you trying to go right?
Actually, bringing them to point is another good idea. Both of those work. I like this. I like this better.
Ready? Ready?
Wait, could you have killed Mercy there? Hold on.
And
You could have totally killed Mercy here.
why were you trying to go right?
So the moment you saw Mercy drop, what I would have done is throw a damage orb at her, because she doesn't really have that great of an escape right now. Her team's up here, but if you were to be more aggressive, you would be able to follow her Guardian Angel pretty effectively. I think you could have killed Mercy here.
And are you ready?
Yeah, because
Go right. And are you ready?
it's hard to pause at that point, but Mercy was about half health when you were done with when you decided to fade out of there. With damage orb, if the damage orb was well placed, that would have been a death.
And are you ready? Dead on me, dead on me.
Get out of there.
Hey, fuck.
This is honestly such a mess. Your coalescence usage was okay. I think you were a little. You kind of just used it and didn't really know what to focus on. One advice I have for like all abilities is when you use an ability, make sure you know exactly why you're using it and commit to that decision of using it for that reason. So I think your Genji bladed with Nano and you used Coalescence on the targets that he was focusing. That's not really going to do a lot because he's already going to kill him most likely. I would have probably saved Coalescence for after you've bladed, or if your Genji starts to get low. Because you can pocket a Genji blade with Coalescence pretty effectively because it not only heals the Genji, but it also does more damage to his targets. Yeah, I would have avoided, like, so instead of stacking your damage ultimates, I would, like, stagger them. So you get more value, more time using ultimates from your team.
Fuck that hole. Did we win at least? No.
I think what you lack here right now is a bigger picture of what's going on with the team fight. I mean, if you could even call it a team fight. What I see is you're kind of tunneling specific aspects of the team fight and not really taking a big look around and seeing what's going on. I generally try and hold on, let's see. Like, you probably know that you're not going to take down this Zarya, I think. And you have, like, you have this shield here. The Orisa and the Bongo is protected by the shield. You're not going to get through that. I wouldn't even attempt to do anything with that. The damage orb was okay. I think in this case you probably needed a healing orb because they're doing tons more damage with the supercharger, and you can't really, unless you're going to target a specific person with that damage orb, like Mercy for example, you're better off just trying to stay alive at this point. I'm going to look at the Fade usage again. Yeah, you used Fade. You didn't retreat anywhere. Yeah, I think this is just another instance where you used Fade not as an escape ability, but just to stop damage from hitting you for a couple seconds, which it's useful sometimes to use Fade to avoid burst damage like that. But in this situation, you pretty much have the entire enemy team right next to you, and now that you don't have Fade, they could just decide, oh, Moira no Fade, let's get her, and there you have nothing to stop them from killing you. Yeah, the Orisa got out of her shield and went to go chase you. I think they probably made a call out on the other team to go get you after that Fade.
That changes my thinking.
Get out of there, Genji!
What? Get my anti-back check down
Oh man. Nice Fade, nice Fade. A really good Fade.
I'm just always being ulted by this fucking piece of shit.
You played that really well. Get him.
Kill me!
I hate that.
You're welcome, me!
So that was played really well. I'm going to talk about your coalescence usage because that's always something to look at. Okay, so I wouldn't have ulted there. this Genji was already very low, and you can reach him with a Aerobatic Grasp. You didn't need to ult right then. I'm gonna see if you needed to ult anytime in this next part of the team fight. Okay, I guess never mind. It is appropriate to ult here. It's the very last fight. You want to make sure you're gonna get it. Coalescence isn't necessarily a game-winning ultimate that you need to conserve for the next fight, I suppose. So it's completely acceptable to use it there, but I might not have if you're like super high ranked player and you're trying to conserve every single ultimate.
Kill me! You're welcome, me.
Yeah, generally really well played there.
Genji carry.
Dude, I killed the Torb, alright?
Yeah, I totally accept that response too.
We
Just
got Hoggle and
BM.
Bomb. Let's go, boys. I will wall off the Torb turret, so... Oh, shit.
oh, that Maywall was interesting. So here, I think you're misunderestimating the power of your Aerobatic Grasp. I think you can reach that Genji from where you're standing. I would just start using Aerobatic Grasp on him the moment you would notice that he's in range.
Oh, shit.
Luckily that Maywall went down there.
I can wall him off soon. 2 seconds, 2 seconds.
That's a good healing orb.
Get him, boys!
Holy shit.
I really like this. Unlucky you couldn't finish off the kill, but your diva did need healing. I'm glad you tended to that. Nice target prioritization.
Go Diva.
Okay, the moment you saw Genji dive your backline, you probably should have started focusing him. That's a pretty free kill. I think he used his dash. I'll just look at that again. Yeah, since you're using Coalescence, I'm gonna make comments on it. So far, extremely good. Genji ults, dashes behind you. Your team is healed up at this point, where they don't need much help. I don't think.
Go Diva.
You don't even look to see where the Genji went. I would have just given a slight glance to see where he might have gone if he's on your teammate or something. This is good. Nice healing orb. So typically when I'm on this point, I'm trying to take it, and there's not a lot of time left. Well, wait, how much time is? No, you have a decent amount of time. But when I'm on this point trying to take it, I will typically stand in the back. It's the safest place, like right either on point or right behind point from your side. So from the attacking side, you stand like. Yeah, I'll just point out, like right here, you see this the purple line between these two pillars. That's a good space to fight. You're sort of taking the role of flanker, which it's good to get kills that way, but if your team needs healing, you might even have to use a fade just to get to them. While if you're standing here, the enemy has to contest points somehow, so they're going to be on point. There's the Genji's right here, the Mercy's right here. You're going to have targets to kill, and not only that, you can focus targets with your team instead of trying to go after solo targets in the backline, which you're probably not going to kill anyway. Yeah, so positioning wise, this works, but I think you could be more effective on the front of the point. Another Coalescence. Oh, that Mercy got away with 1 health. You didn't need to fade there, but I don't think you're gonna get punished for that.
Fall back!
Go back.
Fall back! It's just two of us!
No, yeah, no punish.
Everyone needs to group up. Go back.
Fucking it!
No, get up.
How going?
Crap. That hurts.
Go beat Blade. Go beat.
That's all we good.
I was like waiting for you to fade. You faded like, I think right at the perfect time.
Beat your fade right now, bro. Beat!
That's good. Everyone back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up.
Where's your Lucio?
They don't have a Lucio.
Hold on.
That's all we good.
Beat your fade right now, bro. Beat!
That's good. Everyone back up, back up, back up, back up.
Yeah, it makes sense why you didn't win that fight. They out-ulted you guys. The only thing I can suggest is that what I was saying before, if you were with your team focusing the same targets they were, you might have been able to kill people faster and get them off the point.
Back up, back up, back up.
Where's your Lucio?
They don't have a Lucio.
Should have fucking told us this shit.
Must all make sacrifices. Regenerating your cellular
You guys ready?
I will make real.
Nice. Oh, so close. Nice strafing.
Torbjorn on top.
You're kind of out of position here. You should be more or less with your team when they push in. You can really easily get picked here. Also, you made an aggressive fade forward. Let's see who's around you here. So, Ryan Mercy up there. Zarya, Moira to your left side. You fade onto them. It's likely the Zarya is not very high charged,
Torbjorn on top.
so she's not going to kill you. This is a good ultimate. I might have waited to combo it with the damage orb, but not necessary.
Help me, guys!
You used damage orb when the Mercy had already been bubbled. I'll talk about that. Yeah, so it was pretty clear the Mercy had just been bubbled and you threw a damage orb. The damage orb is never going to not going to latch onto anything at that point, so you pretty much wasted the cooldown. You typically never want to throw a damage orb at a bubbled target. Unless there's some enemies like around that area. Hey Martexi.
Winnable. Zarya.
Ooh. Yikes. That's a bad situation there. I don't think you're doing much ult tracking. I mean, I probably wouldn't either in this situation. There's so much going on. But knowing that Genji has been doing a decent amount of damage, he probably has Blade up again. And
Winnable. Zarya.
that wasn't necessarily a bad fade. But if you had known that Genji has his ult up, I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know what to say here other than you're not really with your team like you should be. Which is gonna lead you to take more focus fire from the enemy and might force out a fade earlier than you wanted to use it. Yeah, you didn't necessarily play it wrong there. Your positioning, I think, could just use some work with that.
How the fuck do we not win
Holy
that?
shit.
Fuck, dude.
Ryan got rezzed.
Kill the fucking demons,
They don't have a diva.
I don't so much mind that you wasted that orb there. You're not really going to advance on the enemy right here. I mean, you could have... When you waste an orb, always consider that you could have gotten 10% ult charge if you had a well-placed damage orb. There's nothing wrong with maybe not getting full value out of an orb, but thinking about how else you could have used the orb if you mess up an orb is something I do as well.
Holy shit.
That Mercy, res the Reinhardt. That's why they want it.
Where you going? Pull back.
Don't listen to that call out. The Mercy res the Reinhardt, which is why we didn't win that. I think there's a lot of other things that are going on right there. It's a very simple way of looking at it.
Get you on, get you on.
Get this guy, get this Reinhardt. He's trapped, he's trapped. No!
Get you on.
We are all scattered, guys.
Right.
No, you are scattered. You were up there by yourself.
That's kind of funny. We are all scattered. No, you are scattered. Okay.
Talking about you guys fighting like that.
Yeah, ult here. Let's see what you do with it. Nice damage orb ult combo. One thing I'll mention here is that you didn't put much time into thinking where that orb was going to go. You just thought to use damage orb with coalescence. It's good that you used it, but to add on to the value of using damage orb and coalescence, really focus on a target that you want to hit with coalescence. You don't even necessarily have to get off the animation cancel. Just fire the orb at the target. The moment the orb gets to the target, that's when you pop off coalescence, so they start taking 120 damage immediately.
Hey, Mercy one. Get that point, right on.
Nice damage orb. Nice. You're kind of carrying this one. You got two really vital picks. That is definitely what you should be doing as Moira. Is getting those picks.
It only took us 6 ults.
How many? Hey Frankie, I have. Hold on, I'm just gonna answer the question. This season, I probably have somewhere around 50 hours on Moira. I haven't really played that much this season, I guess. In total, my hours on Moira are probably somewhere around 400, I would think.
If we go left, I block off the torch turret, and easy point.
Let's go left. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Nice healing orb.
Let's go, guys. Let's block. What are we doing?
You might die here. I'm gonna mention something that you shouldn't have done. I think. Yeah, you waited for your team to start walking through before you went with them, so which kind of led you to be trailing them, and you're gonna take a lot more damage. You should have been literally right inside of your team. Like, you are very vulnerable, and you can't get self-healing off because the enemy is really far away. Yeah, that was really close. Oof. Hold on. I'm gonna look at your fade. If you had fade there.
Let's go, guys. Let's block. What are we doing?
Okay, that was acceptable. But the only reason you had to use fade there is because you weren't with your team, and you took a lot of damage because of that. So if you were with your team, you wouldn't have had to use fade, and you would have had fade for when you needed it to escape the Genji or whoever else was focusing you.
I mean, if you have a McCree, just stick to the McCree. Why do you run away and just solo again?
This is looking tough.
That was flash by 60. Why are you running away from that?
We don't need a fucking main. Can we get on
That
point?
Tor was really on you. Uh-oh. I would say there's nothing to be done here.
Can you?
Who touched the point? I'm interested.
Can we get on point at least?
Okay, Lucio touched the point. And so in this situation, it's a really hard call. You don't know who's going to touch the point. You were trying to do it yourself, which is admirable, but you're probably not going to survive as Moira for more than a second. Lucio is going to have way more survivability. Your team's coming back. So either put all of your trust that Lucio is going to touch the point, or end up dying or try and touch the point yourself and just die like you did here. Your team, I guess, it's really a 50-50 choice here. I don't know if I would make the right one in my opinion, but the other option you had would be to go with the rest of your team and touch the point with them once they get back and Lucio has already touched the point. Like, yeah, with this little group here, I think there's 2 people. Yeah, you're Diva and May.
If you're not on point right now and you've been alive for a while, you're wrong. 100%. That's it. You're wrong.
Nice fade. This Torb is pretty good. Hey, Parkourser. Wait, I never say your name correctly. Parkourso Jr. I think.
Can we change May?
Sure.
You hit GM. That's awesome.
Anyone good at playing like Torb, them, shit like that?
Let's skip ahead.
You guys can go.
Hello.
So you could decide to go for an early damage orb here.
Okay, Monkey.
I can demonstrate
Monkey loose.
the spot to do that if you guys want.
Mercy.
That's a good damage orb. Let's see how much value you get out of that. Yeah, pretty much all used.
Got that Torb.
Your team is so out of position. You did a good job with your positioning to accommodate for that.
Nice.
Nice. I don't expect them to win this.
It had me. Where's Lucio?
This is dangerous positioning.
Heal me here?
May's low, left side.
Nice heal.
Nice fade. Nice fade.
Torb. No!
Nice.
No, dude.
Okay, well, this is just the typical overtime experience.
Holy shit.
Another coalescence. Another damage matrix, whatever it's called.
Holy point, get on point. Please!
Oh! Yo, fucking Mercy, no more fucking res!
Hello there.
Oh, the big play!
I don't think I heard one time
All in.
during the entire fight there any target prioritization from your team, which is why that match that took so long. I think. I mean, not that I expect that from Gold, but it would have helped, I guess.
Click for a goddamn draw.
Yeah. Good Yeah, that was a really good game to analyze. I'm glad you submitted it. Thank you.